Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. I hope you're doing well. I'm here with a book tag. And not just any tag, this is the revised eReader book tag. I was tagged by Pete at Bookless Pete, who I really enjoy. And yeah, it's interesting because it's about e-readers, something that's completely new to me. And yeah, some of these prompts, it's going to be interesting where the space I'm coming from at this is interesting. It's also interesting that this is the revised one because that means there is an original, which I also didn't participate in because I didn't have an e-reader at the time. So, but anyways, Pete went on to say that this is a 2-year-old tag that was created by Micah Cummings. Pete found this tag out through MJ at Reading This Life. Yeah, I will link Pete's video below so you can check it out, along with tagging some other people in this as well. So let's dive right in and talk about these prompts. The first one: what was your first e-reader you ever owned? What was your reasoning for getting one? And were you a reluctant convert or an eager one? And so the first part, my first e-reader was this one. I got it as a gift from my wife recently. You know, I've had it for less than a year. It's amazing. I like everything about it. I have thought about getting one. The reason I think I finally have one was it was a gift, but I had thought about getting one for many years. My wife has had Kindles, e-readers for many years, many different versions. Yeah, and so definitely seeing her enjoyment definitely can kind of sparked my, man, I need to get one. I even think Carly now is considering making the jump to an e-reader as well. There's a lot of advantageous stuff that can be involved in that as well. And so was I a reluctant convert? Well, I wouldn't say I was reluctant, but I will say that I have always been kind of old school when it comes to books. I like having a physical copy. I really do. I did make the change, obviously. I have like 400 and some titles in my Audible account, and I made that change to doing Audible books. And so yeah, I do like that as well. So I am definitely branching out and branching away from that kind of stoic, purist, I have to have a physical copy. I love physical books, though. I like the smells, I like the feels. Yeah, especially mass market paperbacks, how they fit in my hand, which is another reason why I like this size, the simplicity of this thing. You know, I didn't want all the fancy stuff. I just wanted something like this. So, but anyways, yeah, I've been eager for it, but I haven't really pressed the issue, but I'm glad I got this as a gift. Number 2, what e-reader do you use now? What e-readers do you own? And this is just a Kindle. It's a pretty basic one. I don't even know what kind of brand it is, to be honest. It was a gift, but it is a Paperwhite, I think. I think it's a Kindle Paperwhite. It's not color, but it does everything that I need it to do. And so, yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Number 3, do you read digitally on multiple devices or always use the same device? If you use multiple, how do you decide which one to use? So, yeah, I don't read digitally on multiple devices. The only thing I read digitally is on this thing. So, yeah, it's always the same device. Yeah, so I can't answer the second half of that because it's only one. But yeah. Number 4, do you still read physical books? If so, how do you decide which format to read a certain book in? That's an interesting question. And so when it comes to my decision, you know, there's a lot of variables here because if I can get access to a book for cheap, I'm always going to buy the physical book. Now, with that being said, I bounce between kind of 3 different. There's a physical book, there's an Audible book, and there's the digital book on Kindle. And that's where I'm bouncing around. So if I can get a book on the cheap use, if I can own a physical copy, that's kind of like priority number 1. However, I'm slowly edging into where am I going to put it all? And so that is pushing me more towards maximizing the benefit of this. I will say, however, too, before I go from not getting a physical book because of space limitations to moving straight to Kindle, I do go to Audible first. If the Audible book is from a narrator that I really enjoy, that will probably make me get the Audible version of it as well if I got a credit to use and whatnot. But the ultimate experience for me is immersive reading. And so if I can have either a digital copy of the book on Kindle or a physical copy of the book and have it on Audible as I'm following along and listening to someone read it, that immersive experience is kind of like the pinnacle ultimate for me. So hopefully that answers that question. Number 5, what is something you dislike about reading ebooks? There's not anything I really dislike, to be honest with you. I do think navigation is kind of a challenge. I definitely just think it's quicker. When people talk about, well, I'm going to put, my task list in my notes on my phone, and they're typing out, dash, I need to do this, dash, pick up laundry, dash, do. Why can't you just write it on paper? It's simpler. And to me, like, when it comes to navigating back to check on something or to go, if I'm prepping for a review and I'm wanting to find out, hey, I remember in the middle of the book there was this really good quote and I want to go find it. It is far easier to do it in a physical copy than it is in here. I think it's just, even though maybe it's me, I haven't learned all the navigation little tricks, but navigating back and forward in a digital copybook, it seems a little more difficult for me. Number 6, would you ever ditch physical books completely and become a sole ebook reader? If yes, why? If not, why not? I think the answer to that is yes, I will. I think later in life, I definitely will move away from physical books and get everything on digital. And I'm just saying this because and let me explain. So I've realized as I've matured that when you get to a certain point in your life, at least some people do, at least, when you get to a certain point in your life, you start thinking about your kids and what they will inherit, things like your physical mass. So I've really thought about that, especially as I've grown this library. I definitely want my kids to get to a point later in my life when I've enjoyed my library and my reading, where they can come and take what books and stuff that they want to, go through and take. And then I'll probably donate quite a bit of this to different folks. But I don't want them, if I should pass, that they have to deal with, 1,500 books, and it just does a lot of hassle. I think as you get older in life, you kind of realize, like, I don't want to give a huge task list to my children and be that kind of a burden to them. So it is something I touched on in my mind, thinking about long term. Like, eventually I will probably say, here, I want you to have these books, Carly or Christian or Tessa. I want you to take these because they mean a lot, and I think they'll mean a lot to you. And I think I will gift them those things, but I'm not going to gift them a huge list of dealing with all this stuff. So I think making the move to digital will definitely alleviate a lot of that feelings of, anxiety towards that. So I hope that makes sense, but that's what I've thought about. I do love physical books though, and it does feel kind of melancholy to think about, passing this along. But as long as it's passing along to my kids and my family, that makes me feel better. So something I've thought about. Number 7, where do you get your ebooks? Kindle store, library loans, third-party websites. This is one aspect of the e-reader that I really struggle. I know a lot of people on here that are subscribers and friends through my BookTube channel have tried to help me kind of learn some new tricks and around this, but most of the stuff I get is from the Kindle store, either through my Kindle Unlimited subscription and whatnot. I know some people have tried to tell me, like, hey, you should look at this and this because there's other tricks and tips to get free stuff or reduce stuff. And I just haven't explored all that yet. I will do so, but I just haven't yet. And then the last question is tag some fellow booktubers. So I'm going to tag Faceless, Stuart Griffin, Talia Nerds Out, Marlicia Muses, Heroic Book Adventures, Jeff's Cool Cave of Books, Read and Reread, Beyond Books, Tracy's Nordic Life, Genre Books, Sue Jackson, Joseph Reads Books, and I would love to see Brian Lee Durfee do this book tag. So I'm tagging him as well. And that is the revised e-reader book tag. Thanks again to Bookless Pete for tagging me in this. This was a lot of fun, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.